with the amendment. Madam Speaker, a lot of people do not understand, and if you allow me just one more minute, Madam Speaker, that before CDF and before devolution, before decentralization, the situation was very, very bad. You had a situation where there were parts of this country that would not even get 1 cent. It is only the CDF that goes to all the 290 constituencies in this country. It is only through devolution that... Just as I'm finishing, Madam Speaker, we must also pass a message to, as I'm closing, Madam Speaker, the real drivers of these cases is not even the 2 people who went to court. It is the governors, others. We must tell them that even if these funds went away, they will not go to the governors. They will not go to those who think that they will get it, not even the Senate. It will re-centralize, and you will not see that money. And with that, Madam Speaker, let us also demand that the balance of monies that should have been given in the last financial year, about 50 million that is owed to each constituency, be now released so that we can do the projects that ought to have been done. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable, Edwin Murray.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to ventilate on this very wrong judgment which has been passed against NGCDF. Madam Speaker, I was part of the legal team in this matter. We were able to ventilate on a number of issues, and to our surprise, Madam Speaker, out of 9 key issues, none of them the court was able to appreciate, despite the fact that we were able to put in the proper legal position, the constitutional position, but the court came in as a biased court. Madam Speaker, my worry and concern, because you know, in any trial, you are able to get the things which are not being said, but the petitioners, whose name has been alluded in this house, the Council of Governors, our Senate, they have one key issue, which I would say is a sibling jealousy. In this sense, Madam Speaker, a council could stand before the judges and say, look, now you are members of parliament, this money you'll be using as pocket money to campaign for it. It tells you the kind of conversations that are being said behind our back. Madam Speaker, I think it's important that we put it very clearly that NGCDF is a fund under the national government, and the national government can be able to spend that money as provided by the Constitution. Second, Madam Speaker, I noted one of the key drivers in NCDF and success level is because 90% of the fund goes to development, things and tangible things which benefit the common person. In the opposite, the County of Governors, they know very well, they spend 90% of their money doing trips and doing other mundane things which has no benefit to our people. Madam Speaker, I'm trying to urge the members of parliament, let us not lament like people who have no hope. This parliament has power to ensure that we're able to cure this issue or these myriad issues of litigation against NGCDF once and for all. Though, Madam Speaker, we are going to the Court of Appeal. We have a strong case. We know we can be able to win it. But the ultimate goal is to ensure we have entrenched the fund in the Constitution in such a way that in the future, nobody can come back and claim that the fund is unconstitutional.
Let me give the Honorable Millie Odhiambo, then I'll come to you, Honorable Osoro.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Madam Speaker, I just want to inform Senior Counsel Honorable Tiende Amolo that part of the reason they're having problems is the entire legal team was men. There's no women, and yet there are brilliant women lawyers like me in this house. Next time, put us there, and we'll help you. Secondly, Madam Speaker, in areas that have been predominantly opposition, the only fund you can rely on that is changing lives is CDF. Schools to permanent schools. I would want to encourage the judges and people who live in cities to do an immersion in the village so that they know the reality. Yes. A lot of people do not know the reality on the ground. The people who are posh in cities, the lawyers and the ones who are lofty, go to the ground and learn the reality. Madam Speaker, I would also want to say that in relation to the law, our judges, especially Supreme Court, have been very liberal and progressive in interpretation of the Constitution. That is why they even interpreted the Constitution to include gay rights. But when it comes to development, then they start telling you, Montesquieu, separation of powers. I have no problem with separation of powers as espoused by Montesquieu many years back. But Montesquieu does not come from my village, Kolo, in Rusinga Island. He does not know what people go through. That is a very good concept, that something good is finally coming out of Africa, which is the issue of NGCDF. Development. And Madam Speaker, I was just discussing with Honorable Tiende Amolo that we must be brave as lawyers. And if there is one legacy we must leave in this House, is to entrench the fourth role of a member of parliament in this country, which is development. If it does not come through NGCDF, it will come through my pocket. That is the reality. And the members that came before us were overwhelmed. That is why they promoted this. Right now, the role of MPs has totally been removed. But MPs are still being harassed. Put it and make MPs have a role. I have no excuse. Anybody can bash me what they want. But as an intellectual and as a bright lawyer, this is one thing I am willing to defend to my grave. Bora usiguze NGCDF. Wengine wanasema bora usiguze mulima, mimi bora usiguze NGCDF. Hapo tutapigana.
The Honourable Member for South Mugirango, Honourable Silvanus Osoro.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I also want to associate myself with the sentiments that have been made by my colleagues. And I also do not want to delve so much on the judgment that was delivered last week, because I've actually gone through it. In all aspects, I'm actually against it by all standards, because it actually does not meet jurisprudential, authority in all aspects. I mean, the learned judges, Honorable Speaker, only focused on what we call the school of thought in jurisprudence that we call positivism, where they are so keen on unnecessary positivism, and they ignore the element in a very social matter, ignore the socialism jurisprudence, ignore the natural law in all aspects, Honorable Speaker. But I do not want to go that direction, Honorable Speaker. But of importance, Honorable Speaker, for me, it is the character of the Council of Governors. Honorable Speaker, NGCDF is 2.5% of the national budget. Each constituency gets about 130 million thereabout when you do tabulation. County governments get a minimum of 15%. In fact, this house gave them in the last financial year 25% last financial year, about 25 or 26% thereabout. In the last financial year, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, when you do tabulation, you'll realize that in the 2.5% that we get, or the constituencies get in terms of the NGCDF, each constituency gets about 120 million at the highest, or 140 million shillings. Honorable Speaker, with the allocated amounts in the counties, some counties that get about 11 billion in the shared revenue, place in their budget 500 million for the office of the governor's expense. 500 million. But NGCDF for the consumption of the common mwananchi, only 100 million. With 11 billion in some counties, and even some of them getting up to 15 billion, you will actually need a microscope, and I've said this several times, to see what governors do. But they were the first people to go in court, Honorable Speaker. They applied to be interested parties in this matter. They even wrote a letter to the Chief Justice. And in now very common character and demeanor of the current court, Honorable Speaker, they've applied what we call judicial activism, populous rulings, populous judgments, where they now get their jurisprudence from Facebook, from social media, from messages they get, and sometimes from some political leaders who are against very important concepts.
Order number 15, the Energy Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 42 of 2023, second reading, division.
Order, Majority Leader. Honorable Senators, I'll proceed to put the question that the Energy Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 42 of 2023, be now read a second time. You may proceed to vote.